What if your face powder slowly poisoned your skin, teeth, and brain? For centuries, beauty could mean looking fashionable while quietly becoming dangerously ill. The mirror showed pale elegance, but the body sometimes paid a terrifying price. People rubbed lead, mercury, arsenic, and toxic plants onto delicate human skin. They did not wake up each morning planning to poison themselves. They simply wanted respect, romance, work, status, or fewer cruel comments. Does that sound very different from beauty pressure today? The ingredients changed, but the fear of looking unacceptable remained surprisingly familiar. This story is not only about queens wearing strange makeup, it is also about servants, merchants, actors, brides, barbers, and desperate customers. Some products worked beautifully, which made them even more dangerous. So, how did a beauty routine become a slow-motion medical disaster? Long before modern laboratories, cosmetics were mixed inside homes, workshops, and marketplaces. Recipes travelled through families, physicians, traders, performers, and fashionable royal courts. Most people judged a product by appearance, smell, price, and reputation. Nobody could read a modern safety label because modern safety labels did not exist. A cream that whitened skin quickly seemed more convincing than a harmless one. A powder causing immediate pain might be avoided, but slow damage was harder. Many dangerous ingredients produced results before producing obvious illness. That delayed punishment made them perfect ingredients for repeating terrible decisions. Beauty standards also reflected class, labour, health, and local ideas about morality. Pale skin often suggested wealth, because outdoor workers became darker under sunlight. Smooth skin could suggest youth, freedom from disease, and access to expensive care. Darkened eyes could signal protection, mystery, devotion, status, or simple personal taste. Cosmetics were never meaningless decoration. They communicated messages before anyone spoke. Imagine being a young market seller in an ancient city. Your customers notice your face before they examine your cloth, bread, or jewellery. A fashionable appearance might bring attention, confidence, or a better marriage proposal. Refusing cosmetics could seem practical, rebellious, poor, unfeminine, or strangely suspicious. Men also used grooming products, perfumes, hair dyes, and skin treatments. Beauty was a social language, and everyone understood at least part of it. The problem was that chemistry does not care about social pressure. Lead remains poisonous whether applied by an empress or an exhausted shopkeeper. Mercury does not become polite simply because its jar looks expensive. Even natural ingredients can harm you when their chemistry is dangerous. Ancient Egyptians famously used dark eye cosmetics, including mixtures containing lead compounds. Some researchers suggest certain compounds may have helped limit bacterial growth. That sounds like surprisingly good news for a poisonous beauty ingredient. However, repeated exposure still carried risks, especially through contaminated preparation and handling. The same product could offer one benefit while creating another danger. History rarely gives us villains wearing labels marked, obviously terrible idea. Instead, it gives ordinary people making reasonable choices with incomplete information. Beauty sellers also protected secret recipes because mystery increased value. A secret formula sounded luxurious, even when it contained powdered trouble. Would you trust a famous product recommended by everyone around you? Most people probably would, especially before invisible toxins could be measured. That trust helps explain why harmful beauty customs survived for generations. In ancient Egypt, eye paint was practical, spiritual, fashionable, and visually dramatic. Workers, elites, women, men, and children could all use eye cosmetics. Black coal commonly involved galena, a mineral containing lead sulfide. Green eye paint could include malachite, a copper-containing mineral. The dark lines may have reduced glare and discouraged certain eye infections. They also made every person look ready for an extremely serious portrait. But grinding minerals created dust, and repeated handling increased exposure. Quality also varied because local recipes depended on available materials and skill. A careful maker might produce something cleaner than a careless street vendor. Unfortunately, Customers could not send samples to a chemistry laboratory. They judged smoothness, darkness, cost, and whether neighbours admired the result. Now travel northward into the Greek and Roman worlds. Pale skin became fashionable among many elite women, though customs varied widely. White lead could create the desired pale, smooth, almost statuesque appearance. It covered blemishes quickly, which made it dangerously effective. A harmless powder might disappoint, while lead delivered immediate, dramatic results. The user saw success long before headaches, weakness, stomach pain, or worse. Roman writers criticized excessive cosmetics, often mixing health concerns with moral judgment. That criticism sometimes targeted women more harshly than dangerous sellers or social expectations. Ordinary customers heard conflicting messages from doctors, poets, relatives, and merchants. One person called makeup elegant, while another called it dishonest. Meanwhile, the lead quietly continued behaving exactly like poisonous lead. Here comes the first major twist in our story. Some people probably recognized certain products caused harm, yet kept using them. Why continue after rashes, sores, or hair loss appeared? Because stopping could reveal damaged skin underneath the cosmetic layer. The product created a problem, then became necessary for hiding that problem. That cycle sounds disturbingly modern. Despite the ancient jars and tunics, lead-based whiteners could dry skin and worsen its texture over time. Users then applied thicker layers, chasing the smooth face they once had. A beauty routine became a trap, built from appearance and fear. Hair treatments created another collection of risky experiments. Romans used dyes made from plant materials, minerals, ashes, and metal compounds. Some darkening recipes involved lead-based substances with obvious long-term dangers. Other mixtures damaged hair, irritated scalps, or produced wonderfully unpredictable colours. Imagine requesting fashionable black hair and receiving irritated orange disappointment. Wigs, hairpieces, and elaborate styling offered alternatives, but those cost money. Poorer customers often relied on cheaper recipes mixed without careful measurements. When written formulas said a little, every maker interpreted little differently. Measurement systems varied, ingredients varied, and purity varied even more. The customer became the final experiment, usually without volunteering. Centuries later, European beauty culture revived pale complexions with dangerous enthusiasm. During the Renaissance, elite skin was expected to look smooth, light, and refined. Disease scars, sun exposure, age, and ordinary skin texture threatened that ideal. White lead mixtures became famous under names connected with Venice and ceruse. Venetian ceruse was praised for its finish, but lead remained its foundation. People sometimes mixed lead compounds with vinegar to create whitening preparations. The result could cling well, cover strongly, and poison gradually. Queen Elizabeth I is often associated with heavy white facial makeup. Her exact daily routine is debated, but lead cosmetics were widely known. The larger story matters more than one famous royal face. Court fashion encouraged imitation among nobles, performers, wealthy merchants, and aspiring households. A trend beginning near power could travel downward through society. Not everyone wore identical products, but everyone understood the desired appearance. You wanted a face suggesting health, purity, leisure, and controlled emotion. Sadly, the makeup could produce the opposite beneath its polished surface. Lead exposure could harm nerves, digestion, blood, kidneys, fertility, and mental function. It could also damage skin, encouraging even heavier cosmetic coverage. The fashionable face sometimes became a mask, hiding the mask's injuries. Could anything possibly make this already ridiculous situation even more absurd? Yes, because removing thick makeup could require harsh cleaning mixtures. Skin was scrubbed, treated, repainted, and expected to remain perfectly calm. Naturally, the battered skin did not remain calm for long. Actors faced special pressure because stage lighting demanded bold, visible features. Theatre cosmetics were often thicker than daily cosmetics and repeatedly reapplied. Performers needed products that survived heat, sweat, long scenes, and poor ventilation. Safety rarely won against durability when tomorrow's performance paid today's rent. A lead-based face could therefore become part of a working person's equipment. Beauty danger was not always vanity. Sometimes it was employment. The next twist involves eyes, and it becomes genuinely unsettling. In Renaissance Italy, belladonna drops were reportedly used for cosmetic effects. Belladonna means beautiful lady, traditionally linked with fashionably enlarged pupils. The plant contains potent alkaloids that affect the nervous system. Drops could make eyes appear wider, darker, and more emotionally dramatic. They could also blur vision, increase light sensitivity, and cause serious poisoning. So the user looked romantically fascinated because focusing became physically difficult. Imagine flirting at a banquet while unable to see the person clearly. Wider pupils suggested beauty, youth, and attraction in some fashionable settings. But the visual effect came from interfering with normal eye function. This is chemistry performing a dangerous costume change. Physicians knew belladonna as a powerful medicinal and poisonous plant. Yet medical knowledge did not automatically prevent cosmetic use. People often believed careful quantities separated elegance from disaster. Sometimes they were correct. Using Weibull help until measurement, strength, or repeated use changed. Mercury became another celebrated enemy disguised as a helpful beauty treatment. Preparations containing mercury were used against skin spots, blemishes, and disease symptoms. Mercury compounds could lighten skin or reduce visible marks temporarily. They could also injure kidneys, nerves, gums, and the digestive system. Users might experience tremors, mood changes, weakness, and worsening health. But the face sometimes improved before the body obviously declined. That early reward encouraged continued use and enthusiastic recommendations. A customer praised the product during its most deceptive stage. Then illness arrived later, disconnected from the original cosmetic jar. Doctors themselves sometimes prescribed mercury, especially for syphilis and other conditions. Medical treatment and beauty treatment could overlap inside the same household. A person might not distinguish medicine, cosmetic, cleanser, and fashionable tonic. Labels were vague, recipes secretive, and professional standards inconsistent. Would you blame the buyer, the seller, the doctor, or society? History usually answers. All of them, but not equally. Arsenic also entered beauty culture through complexion products and edible preparations. During the 19th century, arsenic complexion wafers were openly marketed. They promised clearer skin, improved colour, and fashionable delicacy. Arsenic can disrupt many organs and cause severe chronic poisoning, yet advertisements presented controlled dosing as modern, scientific, and respectable. That wording reassured customers who feared old-fashioned homemade mixtures. The bottle looked professional, so danger seemed less likely. This brings us to another surprising and deeply uncomfortable twist. Modern packaging did not immediately create modern safety. Industrial production allowed harmful products to reach more customers more consistently. Newspapers carried persuasive advertisements into homes far beyond fashionable capitals. A dangerous recipe no longer needed neighborhood gossip. It had marketing. Some consumers swallowed arsenic instead of merely applying it. The beauty routine moved from skin surface directly into the body. Small, repeated doses could still create serious cumulative harm. The promise was beauty from within, unfortunately including poison from within. Hair removal products also sometimes contained arsenic compounds or harsh alkaline ingredients. These could burn skin when mixed too strongly or left too long. Instructions might assume ideal conditions that ordinary bathrooms simply lacked. Water temperature, timing, skin condition, and product strength changed every result. One person achieved smooth skin, another achieved a memorable medical emergency. Cosmetic danger also appeared in hair dyes containing lead compounds. Repeated scalp contact increased opportunities for absorption and irritation. Customers wanted grey hair hidden, not their nervous systems disturbed. But aging carried social penalties, especially for women seeking work or marriage. The choice between risk and rejection did not feel equally voluntary. We should also discuss teeth, because beauty rarely stopped at skin. Historical tooth powders included charcoal, chalk, crushed materials, herbs, and abrasive minerals. Some cleaned stains, while others wore enamel through enthusiastic scrubbing. Acidic treatments could whiten briefly by damaging the tooth surface. A brighter smile might therefore become a weaker smile. People also darkened, reshaped, decorated, or deliberately altered teeth in various cultures. Not every unfamiliar practice was poisonous or foolish. Some were safe traditions with meanings outsiders failed to understand. That distinction matters when discussing historical beauty honestly. Danger came from chemistry, contamination, dosage, and repeated exposure. It did not come simply from being old. The number of close or unusual. Another misconception says everyone blindly accepted dangerous cosmetics without concern. In reality, people complained, warned, joked, and argued about harmful products. Writers described damaged faces, doctors reported symptoms, and families shared cautionary stories. But warnings competed against fashion, profit, hope, and personal desperation. Knowledge remained unevenly distributed and often travelled painfully slowly. One town might distrust a powder that another town celebrated. We also lack perfect records from ordinary users. Royal inventories survive more often than a servant's irritated diary. That imbalance can make elite habits seem universal when they were not. Cosmetics also varied by region, religion, occupation, income, and historical period. There was never one single ancient beauty routine. A final, lesser-known twist concerned supposedly natural alternatives. Natural substances included poisonous berries, irritating resins, heavy minerals, and dangerous herbs. Nature produces beauty, medicine, and toxins without separating them into labelled shelves. Historical users learned through tradition, experimentation, observation, and sometimes terrible accidents. What can these deadly beauty secrets teach us today? First, people were not stupid for wanting acceptance, confidence, or opportunity. They lived inside social systems rewarding certain faces and punishing others. Second, visible results can easily hide serious invisible costs. A product may appear effective precisely because its chemistry is aggressive. Third, secret formulas deserve suspicion when sellers avoid honest ingredient lists. Fourth, expert approval matters only when experts have evidence and accountability. Historical doctors sometimes repeated harmful treatments because accepted knowledge was wrong. Fifth, beauty standards can turn personal choices into social obligations. A court trend could pressure a merchant, actor, servant, or bride. The richest person wore the fashion, but poorer people copied the risk, and the most dangerous product was often the one that worked fastest. That is the final and most important twist worth remembering. Failure would have ended the trend, but visible success kept poison fashionable. The face looked smoother, paler, younger, brighter, or more dramatic. Meanwhile, the body quietly recorded every repeated toxic exposure. Today, laboratories, regulations, and ingredient testing offer protections unavailable to earlier consumers. Those protections are imperfect, but history shows why they matter. Ancient beauty culture was creative, expressive, practical, and sometimes brutally dangerous. It reveals how ordinary people negotiate identity under pressure. So, when future historians study our beauty routines, what will horrify them? Perhaps the next strange chapter is already sitting inside our bathrooms.